Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Rotimi Paul, and I just want to thank Mr. Death Breath for having me on.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're here with Rotimi Paul.
You may know him as Skeletor from the Purge sequel titled The First Purge. How are you doing today?
Man, I'm awesome. Thank you so much for having me on. I just want to say I appreciate you, and I look forward to this interview.
Yeah, thank you. Honestly, I got to tell you that movie, I was apprehensive because I'm not really one to be into sequels. But I happen to enjoy the film completely, which blew me away. But what really stood out, and I speak for everyone, I'm pretty sure when I say this, is your performance of Skeletor. Absolutely frightening. I don't understand it. Like, how are you that, and then you're this nice guy?
Nah, thank you, man. I think for me, what you have to understand is that I think we all have an understanding of darkness. We all have an understanding of, someone who may not have everything that they want in life. So for me, I looked at Skeletor as someone who was looking for an opportunity, a way out. And the Purge presented that opportunity for him. So if you had everything that you wanted in life right in front of you, what would you be willing to do to get it? And I feel like from that perspective, you can kind of get into I think where Skeletor lives as far as like what he was after in life in that moment.
Right. And again, I do this as a fan. Like I love reviewing movies. I love talking to people that admire their work. And it's still strange to see you and then to think of the way you looked and just how bizarre you are. Like, you're two different people, which I'm glad you're nothing like him. But
Oh
my
man,
mind
no.
still doesn't
The
understand.
reason the reason I wanted to do this is because you're such a fan of genre film. So for me, that was kind of my hook to you was all right. This is someone who was very supportive of my role, but larger than that, this is someone who really cares about horror, really cares about genre, really cares
Yeah.
about just good characters. And for me, as an actor, I'm also a fan of movies. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I
Right.
see you have Mass in the background. Like, I'm a
Yeah, that's
fan
right.
of those films. Yes, I kind of came up and I looked at this film as an opportunity to really add something to the lexicon that I don't think we've seen. I'm someone who has grown up in the city and kind of been exposed to all walks of life. And I feel like you have a little bit from here and a little bit from there. That if we put it together in a character, it could be something new that we haven't seen in a character, especially in horror, or in thrillers. And that's kind of where I started to really build Skeletor from.
Right. Okay. So let's find out a little bit about you. Because I mean, we know how scary you can be. We know how nice you are as a person. So what led you to acting?
So I started acting. I went to Syracuse University as an undergrad, and I minored in theater there. I just needed an outlet. Who I am now is a product of, being in classes, traveling, getting to meet different people. But I could be really closed off and really sheltered and really to myself. And I found that when I was acting, I wasn't. I wasn't this sheltered person. I was kind of more outgoing, and I could be more in touch with my feelings and emotions. And that person, through acting and so on and so forth, was able to get to a place like Skeletor, which I took all sorts of pain and all sorts of repressed emotion from my own life, added it to a character that I felt was an outlet, and then I was able to, hopefully hit it out of the park for any sort of fans of the film.
You
So
certainly did. I have a friend of mine. He specializes in talking about like horror haunts and everything related. And when I was talking about you, he was just like, "Oh my gosh, Skeletor!" I'm like, "Yeah." Everyone who spoke,
that's awesome.
it's amazing. So, would you say that acting made you more confident as a person down the line? Like, you became
Definitely. I think, I'm an open book. I lost my mom when I was really young, and that kind of stuck with me for a long time, just processing that for myself and really understanding, who I was and who I wanted to be, and I started to look at, just different avenues. I played sports, and I found different outlets that I felt, helped me out. But when I started acting, when I started developing characters and really looking and crafting and shaping characters with my backstory, with my perspective, my emotions, that to me spoke the loudest in terms of using my voice. And that's what I knew I wanted to do. Like once I hit the stage in college and started doing theater, I knew I didn't want to do anything else because nothing else gave me that feeling. So I act for completely selfish reasons. I act because of how it makes me feel.
it's amazing.
Expressing emotions and going to places and challenging myself. Uh, there's nothing like that for me. When even you were talking about Skeletor and that performance, for me, I had to really do the homework, and it was very isolating at times. Just working from a space of of exclusion and really being repressed and really documenting for myself, why I would be in the space that I was in. I looked at the script, all right. I looked at the world of the Purge, and I said, okay, well, who is this human being? Because I wanted him to have humanity. Who is this human being, and why is he in this space that he's in when the lights are on? You know, like when the director yells, go or whatever. Why am I in the space that I'm in? And I really had to understand that for myself. And once I was able to flesh that out and really then fill that with emotion and life, then I think, I had something special. So
No, absolutely. Okay, so I know you went to William Esper's acting studio academy.
I was an undergrad at Syracuse. I knew I wanted to act. I was majoring in sports medicine. I was minoring in theater. And then I knew as soon as I left Syracuse, I have to go for more training. I want to train with the best. New York City has great acting and great acting conservatories. All signs, and I kept asking and talking to different people, led me to Esper. They had some really good alumni whose work that I really adored. And then some people who I knew from my own family, hey man, you should check out Esper. And one day I went in, I met Bill Esper, and he interviewed me. We sat down, and he was just like, "You need to train here." Like maybe a couple weeks after that, I was in class, and I trained with Joel Rook's first year and Suzanne Esper second year, and it was literally the most influential experience for me, because what it did was it opened me up. If you talk to actors, you might hear them talk about like their first breakthrough. And my first emotional breakthrough was, in such a safe environment where I was able to really let loose and get in touch with emotions that I had tried to put off for years. And doing that set me on the path to really not only understanding characters, but really understanding myself. So Esper was really influential in that way, in terms of just really getting me open to emote and receive emotion as well. Because if you're being guarded with your own emotions, what you're also doing is you're preventing people from connecting to you in a full way. So that was Esper in a nutshell.
So that really changed. Did that really put you on the path to becoming the actor you are today?
It's also the people that you're training with, right? I feel like at that school or at the time that I was there were people who really, really cared about, just being talented, about really honing their craft, and not about what they look like or what they sound like. It was really just about like us having real connection, just the way we're talking now. Right. So I really understood, okay, listening and responding. All right, what does that really mean? So from year one to when I graduated at the end of my second year, I think I was a completely different person. Obviously, I was a completely different actor, but I was a completely different person in terms of, my ability to connect to people and to really show who I am as a full human being.
That's incredible. The Purge being a massive film you've been in, how has your acting experiences differed? Like, as in, like, the grand scale of things, the professionalism from cast and crew. Like, how, like, like, if you were to compare, like, how has it been from, like, your earlier gigs to now? Have you noticed any differences or any changes or how you're treated?
Well, I've been very, very fortunate. I'll say that just off the top. I've been very fortunate in that I feel like most sets that I've been on have been awesome. I've done TV in the past, and those were great. Now I think I was treated really well and was able to work from a space of everyone being collaborative. And then everything kind of led up. Even my stage experience, everything led up to the Purge, where I felt like I was given ultimate freedom to really create a character.
You just answered one of my questions. You're jumping ahead. Just kidding.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
You're good. You're good. You're amazing.
You're asking good ones, man. You just got me thinking. But it's like I feel like the Purge was a situation. The Purge was the first time a director called me and was like, "Listen, I'm so happy to have you on board. We're doing this thing together." So initially, before I even got to set, in the weeks leading up, I felt like I was part of a team, and I just wanted to carry my weight. Gerard, who directed us, Gerard McMurray, who's going to go on to do great things. I think he's going to be awesome. He's a really cool dude. He's a good person. He kind of called me and was like, "Listen, man, I'm happy to have you here," and that meant the world, because I had auditioned in New York. I think I'm one of a few characters that came out of New York instead of out of LA, and it was really just a really, really, really cool moment to be like, "Yo, I see you, and I'm looking forward to working with you." And as soon as I got the call that I was doing it, I was already shaping character and listening. I had like a whole sonicscape of like what his world was and what sounds would have influenced him from music to whatever else. So, I was already working on this character. I got the call. I was, oh man, let's go. So by the time I got to set, man, it was just like I couldn't wait to jump in.
So you're already in that mindset. So okay. So since you kind of mentioned it, let's lead into it. So you said that so when becoming Skeletor, you said that certain music, certain sounds, what got you into character? What kind of music did you listen to? What did you eat? What did you do? What did you prepare to do?
I'm not gonna tell you every specific song, but I will say he is someone who is a product of the '90s, and he grew up in Staten Island. So I looked at hip hop of that era. So you can assume there would be some Wu-Tang on
Tupac,
there.
Biggie.
There was a little Biggie.
It's not in there. It should be. It's good stuff, man.
So for me, I had to get specific sounds that he would have been influenced by. Music that he really would have been influenced by. And you can't have something in Staten Island without Wu, right? So Wu-Tang was kind of like a big nucleus for me, and then I kind of riffed off of that, and I think really got to a good selection of like 12 songs or 12 to 14 songs that I would just listen to every day, every single day. And, I kind of got to a place where songs would trigger certain emotions based on backstory that I had crafted. So before scenes, everyone was really good about giving me my space to work. And before scenes, I would have my headphones. And then when I was, called or when they were ready for me to shoot, I was in a really, really comfortable space to go ahead and just jump right into each scene.
That's amazing. Okay, so what experiences did you add from your life or just your encounters that you added to create Skeletor? Because you can tell when you look at him, he's very physical the way he moves, but there's also a lot behind his eyes, which I think is interesting. Yeah. You see that there's something tortured behind this scary face and this movement. So what did you add?
So I think when you look at Skeletor, I think I kind of wanted balance in a way that I don't know if everyone will notice, but for me, when I was crafting him, I think he was balanced, even though what I would project is unhinged, right? So you would have scars juxtaposed with, specific tattoos, and I have to craft why I would have each tattoo in each place. And Corey Castellano, who was our makeup guy or head of the makeup department, and Gerard, who director, allowed me to really, come up with these, like, where my scars were. I was able to craft the backstory about why I have the scars, where I have them, why I have the tattoos, where I have them. And all of that is part of the process of creating this character. So I was never, like, as I would sit in the chair and, like, get this final look together, we worked on that for a full week, just the look of Skeletor. And then after that, like, as I was shooting, when I would be in the chair, that's all part of the process of seeing yourself transform, seeing Rotimi fade away, and seeing Skeletor kind of emerge. So by the time I was ready, I was ready. I was really dead set on, like, I could leave the trailer and go do this thing. But yeah, I really feel like, the specific, like, heaviest, I had a crown on my neck. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah.
And I did have a tattoo under it that said "Heavy is the head." So for me, heavy is the head that wears the crown. Mom is a huge influence in my life. That word triggers so many emotions of both joy and pain. So once again, back to that dichotomy of, like, things can be very painful and very beautiful at the same time.
Right.
So I kind of crafted a little bit of my story into his, and once I got to a place where I completely understood him, I looked at it and I left it alone. And then every day I would be able to just sit back into it and go ahead and perform.
So it sounds like you were given complete freedom really to craft the character as you wanted.
Yeah. Like I said, it was such an amazing team to be a part of. I feel like everyone just respected everyone else's work. Like, I had an idea and Corey would be like, oh, I got something. And he would have things made that blew my mind. He's probably one of the best talents as far as, like, makeup and prosthetics in the game. If people don't know him, they should look him up. Like, he's amazing,
Yeah, great visually.
Like, visually, he was like, no, trust me, like, the angles of this is going to work.
Yeah.
I already know, like, based on your physique and what you did in the audition. He had seen my audition tape. So he was talking to me about, like, what I had done. This guy came to the audition in full makeup, just like makeup that I thought. I just took a risk and said, fuck it, like, we're gonna come in 100% there. So from that, he was just like, yo, like, you have a good idea. Let's just develop on that. you know, and Gerard was the same way, just in terms of like Gerard knows exactly what he wants, so he'll just be like, okay, he'll look, he'll be like, not quite that. He'll like just keep working on it. He'll be like, okay, I like that, like let's go in that direction. And then when he sees it, he's like, all right, that's it, you know. So he's really good about giving people freedom to kind of create, and then when it kind of gets it, he'll shape it, but he won't be oppressive in how he shapes it. He'll just kind of help you mold it until it's there, and it's all right. You have it now. Let's
kind of lead you in the right direction, and you kind of fill in the blank. So this is like one of the best pieces of trivia I've read, because I remember after seeing your performance, I was just like, oh, what was that? That was amazing. But I was like, right. So I went on IMDb Pro or IMDb, and I'm like looking through trivia, and I read that you rode the subways in the makeup you made.
I went to my audition in full makeup, so I rode the subway in full prep, because I felt like he's a human being, right? So he exists in the world. He exists in my city. I live in New York. So this character lives in New York.
Right.
So it's not like he's like some alien, you know, who's only going to appear on screen for fans to either like or not like. It's like, he, to me, is a human being that lives in the world. So if I'm going to be this human being, let me show them who this human being is. Let me be this human being on my way to the audition. It all made sense to me in my head. That's just the way I think, you know. I know that might sound crazy to other people.
No, it's awesome. It's awesome. I love that you I mean, because, you know, when you watch movies, there's a disconnect. Like, I mean, like, you know, I may see you on screen and never get to meet you, but when you rationalize it and you explain it as a person, I get it. Like, now it's not on screen, but it's here. So I understand.
It has to be lived in, right? For me, it has to be lived in. Like, I care a lot about, you know, the opportunities that I'm given. Go back to that word opportunity. I said that in the beginning because I felt like Skeletor had a unique opportunity to change his circumstances. And people are like, oh, how are you so different? I can't imagine you and Skeletor being the same person. What you have to realize is opportunity means a lot to me. This film was, to me, my biggest opportunity in life. So Skeletor has his biggest opportunity in The Purge, right? Rotimi has his biggest opportunity as an actor. That's happening at the same time. So I am aggressively going after my dreams. I'm going after the one thing that's going to change my life, to me. So that's how I'm approaching this character. And I'm saying, look, together, if we come together on this, we could really change what we're doing. We could change our life. We could change our circumstance. You through The Purge, me through the film.
So I have to ask you.
You bring that together, and then you're off and running after that.
Definitely, and you're an amazing actor. And honestly, I wish you nothing but the best. Seriously, incredible performance. And I love that I see where you're coming from. You take that desire of determination and opportunity, and you turn it into a monster. You can turn it into something great, and it's amazing that you could do that. Incredible. So what were your experiences like when you were on the subway? Was it interesting how people reacted to you, or were you kind of unnoticed? It is New York.
The most interesting thing about it is that no one paid any mind. I looked like you know, maybe someone who was homeless or someone who was disturbed. And the thing about New York is you kind of give people their space to be who they are, you know, and people don't really bother people on the subways, especially. So, you know, maybe people shied away a little bit or didn't look me in the eyes, you know, because my eyes were wandering and I was moving and I wasn't settled. Amazing. So for me, that behavior is a trigger for other people to say, I'm not going to engage that person. It's almost like they noticed you, so you don't exist. You see, right? It's like I'm uncomfortable in this way, so I'm just gonna look at my phone or look out the subway or, you know, do anything that doesn't make me more uncomfortable.
So my question on the makeup: how much of what you created on your own made it into the film?
A good amount. I mean, it was just much better in the film. You know, I feel like it all kind of came together in the film, and it was like a rough as far as my audition. It was just like my imagery of like, no, this is who this guy is. I think led me on a path. But I think once you get a team together of like, everyone is doing great work. You know, Corey's doing great work and Gerard's doing great work and lighting and sound are doing great. Then all that comes together, and that team dynamic is what you see as far as the ending product. I may embody it, but there's a lot of people that I think came together. And then also I'm playing off of people as opposed to an audition where you're driving everything. You know, that life comes, there's a spark that happens on set when you're working with great people, and Javan Wade and Lex, you know, Lex Scott Davis, who's amazing in the film as well. When you start working with people and you get screams and you get reaction, it gives
Oh,
you
wow.
more to play with that you're then like able to really enjoy and taste and smell and do all these things that kind of bring more out of the character than you can ever imagine when you first started.
Did you ever expect you playing Skeletor to make you stand out in this genre? I mean, this is a beloved genre, and you stood out. Did you expect that?
I always try to go in with no expectations. What I knew was I had a unique opportunity, and I just didn't want to let myself down, my family down, obviously, but I didn't want to let just people who love this genre, people who really care about film, I didn't want to let those people down, because I feel like I'm a part of that community, and
You
I
are.
know how exciting it can be to get something that kind of smacks you in the face where you're like, I didn't see that coming, because I wasn't in much of like the build up to the film. I was kind of one of those characters that I think very smartly they kind of held back on. They showed little glimpses here and there, but in the film you're like, oh, I didn't know he was going to play that kind of part. You see what I'm saying? So I thought that was really, really, really great. And it was an exciting moment for people to sit in the movie theater and have the film open up, and you're like, oh, who is that guy?
Yeah,
I thought that was a really, really just cool experience, and I just couldn't be more grateful for it.
Yeah, I'm really glad they didn't really show much of your character, because I'm watching it and I'm like, wait, what? What's going on? I'm like, I hope I don't see it again. And you keep popping up. I'm like, oh man. I'm like, all right, I'm in. Okay, so do you plan to attend any conventions? Because I know that I'm speaking for a lot of people. They would love to see you, take photos with you.
Here's the thing. I have no idea how to even get involved in that. So maybe that's something you can probably let me know more of. But I would love to. Anyone who is obviously supportive of genre film and supportive of obviously the Purge franchise and me and Skeletor and what we do. Those are people I kind of want to connect to, and I want them to know who I am, where I am, what I'm up to, and just shake hands and hug and meet people and like, listen, man, I love films too. Like, let's talk. So kind of like what we're doing. I feel like just getting to engage in people who really, really care about what it is films have the opportunity to do. I'm all for it. So yeah, you can definitely let me know.
Yeah, I think it's the power of Twitter. That's the impression I'm getting. I think if you tweet at these people, they tend to take notice. So I'll definitely be tweeting your name out there and putting it out there to the conventions. So, okay, so you have 3 films coming out this year. You have A Storybook Ending, Brooklyn Park, and Blister. Please tell us about them. Tell us anything, everything.
All right, so this year, actually, Maplethorpe, which is directed by Andy Tamana, that's going to be out through MGM, I believe, in like a month or two. I'm not exactly sure of the exact date. Yeah, Maplethorpe. It's about Robert Mapplethorpe, the photographer from the 70s into the 80s. So I have a small role in that where I kind of pop up and have a nice little scene with Matt Smith, who's playing Robert Mapplethorpe.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out where I could watch it, but I guess it's not out yet. And I was like, oh man.
No, it's not out yet. No, I'm trying to figure out where I can watch it. I have to see where it's gonna land.
They don't just tell you? I figured they would.
I'll probably get information at some point. I just haven't yet, which is how things go. You kind of find out like last minute. Oh, it's gonna be all right, cool, and then you show up. But yeah, all those other films that you mentioned, Blister, Storybook Ending, these are all indie films. New York is a really good indie market, and I'm always down to work with new directors, upcoming directors who have great stories and just want to tell them. I feel like for me, that's kind of been part of how I've been able to get interesting characters is through indie film. And I'm a huge supporter of indie films. I hope people go out and then see more indie films, whether it be at festivals or once they get a release, support indie film. That's my pitch for indie film. Yeah.
Lend-Lease's a lifesaver. They're out here in California and they're always playing unique things and fun things.
Yeah.
I want to thank you so much for giving me some of your time. Your performance as Skeletor is truly amazing, and it's been amazing to talk to you. Thank you so much.
No, first of all, thank you. Thank you for doing what you do. Thank you for obviously loving film. And then also, man, I just want to support you as someone who has a passion for film, has a passion for interviewing. Put those two things together. I think you should continue doing it. You're doing a great job. I just want to just kind of give you a nod as well.
First Purge is now available on Blu-ray and DVD. Thank you to Mr. Rotimi Paul for his time and for his amazing performance. Guys, go check out the movie. It's a fun film and you'll enjoy it. Thank you also to Vera from Mega Fan 12. I appreciate your support. Thank you for watching my videos and commenting. Here's your shout out.